Nicholas Kwan,
Yep.
you live in Hong Kong, and your beat is China and Asia. What's your take on the situation in China at the moment from an investment standpoint?
I think it's very important, very critical. Most people look at China now leading the recovery of the world, not just itself. I think it's right, but on the other hand, we have to be very careful. This recovery at this point is still not guaranteed. There's a lot of challenges on the road, not just because the outlook is so murky around the world, but because China is undergoing a very fundamental shift in the way it grows. 30 years over the last 3 decades has been going in one model. Now they have to change it. They've been so much dependent on export to grow in the last 30 years. Now they run to a point that they know the export market is going to be weak for a long time, particularly the US, Europe. They have to find a new markets. They have to find a new way to grow. So to that extent, I think there's still a lot of uncertainties, but also it means that there are a lot more opportunities for those who are specialized not just in export, but also in China's own market. You will present a new development. There are also another way to see China's growth pattern changing. They've been saving a lot in terms of the reserves they accumulate. In the old days, they always park it in the US Treasury, which is safe and happy. Until very recently, they themselves say that it is not guaranteed. So they are going to diversify. The diversification is not just because they want a safe bet for the savings, but also because they need to use the saving in a better way. The old days, they use it to buy US Treasury, which is basically to lend it to the America to buy their own products. Now the America is not going to buy the products. They're not going to lend more. They have to use this money to build their own reserve, not just in forex, but in natural reserves. They need the natural reserve, they need the minerals, they need the energy resources to support the growth. So there's a way of changes on how they grow and how they support their growth going forward, which behind that present a lot of new opportunities for business.
For many years, the strength of the U.S. market was that it was a very large market, and most manufacturers could sell internally. They didn't have to go outside at all. It was only relatively recently that export started to become a concern for many U.S. companies. Do you see, given the different political system and culture and so on, do you see China within the next 10 years, say, successfully developing an internal market where people have enough money to buy all kinds of things?
There's all kind of possibility that they will do that. I think it's a matter of development. When you are still poor, when you still need the money, you can't afford to even buy the product you produce yourself. You're looking to export it. And you need the money to buy something which is more important for you, which can only make overseas. Now the Chinese can more or less make what they want or what they need in the basic terms. So they don't really need to export to earn the forex in order to support the import. On the other hand, they produce so much good stuff which are liked by the foreigners, which they themselves also like to enjoy. So there's a market readily available inside China. Of course, there are problems. You have a good product, you need a good distribution, you need a good financial system to support it. That is something missing in China, which is something they need to build going forward if they want to have a more sustainable, more buoyant domestic market. But this is not something really high-tech. They can do it, but given time. I can expect going forward, the Chinese, just like anybody else, would like to enjoy better living, better products, better quality. And these are products being produced already. The buyer is not available now, so they can easily just shift it back to the domestic market. That is doable, and it will happen. I can't imagine a country can keep on producing for somebody else and just keep themselves starving. That is not the way the economy will grow. Yep.
Besides China, where else do you see great potential growth in Asia?
Actually, this time around, there are 3 major economies, all bear some sort of similar characteristics, which could lead to growth in Asia as well as the world. These are economies which are relatively closed, either in terms of trade, like India, Indonesia, not China, or close in terms of financial system like China, not so much of India and Indonesia. But also these are economies which have a large domestic markets and reasonably strong growth momentum, 4 to 6 or even 10% growth rate over the last 5-6 years. These are the three places which we call are the bigger Asian economies: India, China, Indonesia. All have that same characteristic, and they have been maintaining reasonably positive growth. And none of them have ever go into a recession during the last downturn or the past year or so. And they are all going faster now, and the policy is reasonably okay that they can support this growth with more aggressive monetary fiscal policies to support that. So we expect these are the prime area of, to some extent, the driver of growth for Asia as well as the rest of the region.